Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good morning, dear students, and welcome to our science class. Today is Sunday, and the date is 12th of December 2021. We are learning about food chain. Who can remind me, what does food chain mean? What are food chains?
Food chain is
Transfer of
bro, I forgot. It's something starts with a P.
food
Chains.
energy. Remember?
Oh,
The thing that starts with a P, which is the food chain, always starts with a
predator. No. Producer. What's type?
Producer.
Sorry.
Always starts with a producer. And we took a lot of examples. We said a plant over here will be eaten by this mosquito, and then the fish will eat, the small fish will eat the mosquito, bigger fish will eat the small fish, and finally human or we are going to eat the fish. Also, we learned about what are the types of animals. How many type of animal do we know? How many type of animals do we know? It depends.
Herbivore, omnivore, and carnivore. Carnivore and herbivore.
One more. There is one more.
Scavenger.
Scavenger. Excellent. Who's a scavenger?
Scavengers like plants and animals.
Consumer who eat dead plants and animals is a scavenger. Later on, we learned that there are some animals can be prey and predators. What are a prey and what is a predator?
The predator is the one who's like mean and who eat the facing. Yeah, and the prey. The prey who's the eaten. Yeah.
Excellent. Very good. Very good. Very good. Okay, writing in the chat. Yes, Yahala. I'm good. Thank you. But please, I want you to open your camera and stay here with me. And we are going to talk at the end of the class. So after learning about predators and prey, we learned that the predator one day can be a prey and a prey one day can be a predator. So they can switch roles. They are not the same role all the time. Okay, and finally we have something called food webs. Remember what are food webs? They show the relationships among different food chains. So food chains, two food chains can be related together. Is that right?
Right.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
They are related together. They are called food webs. Today we are going to learn the changes in food webs. Now imagine that one animal disappeared. What would happen to other living things in the food web? Now over here, take a look at this food web. We remember what we said about these planktons? The planktons, who will eat the planktons? We said the clam. The clam will eat the planktons. Who will eat the clam? The lobster will eat.
Yeah.
And also the planktons can be eaten by who? By a small fish. And also the small fish will be eaten by the lobster. Finally, the lobster can be eaten by an octopus. Okay, Habibi. Imagine one of these animals will disappear. Let's cross the clams. Let's cross the clams. Imagine that there is no clams. Huh. the food web will be changed. Is that right?
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
So the plankton will be eaten by who? Only the small fish and then the lobster. Okay, now let's go back to the reason why the planktons can be eaten by so many animals. Why? Do you have any idea?
Because it's small.
Okay, because they're small.
Because they're so small.
Okay, yes, that's right. What else?
Because it's it's really. Miss, what does the plankton eat?
It's a producer. It makes their own food. That's why it starts. The food chain starts over here. Okay, because of the planktons are too many. If we have too many of something, there must be too many can eat it. Okay, so if the clams were not there at all, the planktons will be so many of them, and the food web will be not stable. Every animal may have a role or a niche in our in their environment or habitat, and they make a balance. So if one animal disappeared, the other animals will have more numbers, but sometimes they can starve if there is no rabbits. For example, the fox eats a rabbit. If there was no rabbits, the carrots will be too many in the ground. Fox will be too many on. The fox will starve from because there is no rabbits. And what is going to happen?
They will eat us.
Yes, sometimes fox can be very dangerous when they are very hungry, and if they did not find the thing that they eat, definitely they will try to find something else. When they try to find something else, they will eat the food of someone else. See, everyone needs to eat their own food so they can keep the world balanced or the environment balanced. So we have to keep our animals and make them diverse more and more. So the rare animals, should we kill them? No. Why? So we can keep our diversity safe. You know what does it mean, diversity? Okay, it means diversity means that we have so much different kinds of animals. This is diversity, when you have so many kinds. All right, Habibi. I want someone to read for me. Who's ready to read? Who's ready to read?
Miss me, please.
Okay, Dana, open
Miss me, please.
198.
Miss, can I read after Dana, please? Let me just.
Okay, let's start with Hannah. After that, Dana, okay? Was that you, Yahala, saying please?
I'm
Yes.
the one that.
Yes, me.
You're so funny.
Miss, do I start reading?
Okay. Yes, Dana and then Hala.
Miss, from where do you want me to read?
Changes in food webs can affect
all parts of a food web. For example, suppose the weather was very cold in the spring. Only a few plants in a meadow might live through the cold spring. This means that the mice in the meadow would not have enough to eat. Their numbers would go down. The snakes.
Okay, you can wait. You can wait. See, if one animal disappears, other will be affected. How? Who disappeared over here in cold weather?
Miss, if a lion eats Miss, if a lion eats
Fatuma. We are learning here this example, so stay with us in this example until we go to another one. Okay, Fatuma? So only a few plants in a place called meadow might live through the cold spring. So when it's cold, not all plants can grow. So what is going to happen to the mice in meadow? They will not have enough food, so they will die. See? So the numbers will go down in the cold spring. This means that the mice in the meadow would not have enough to eat, and the numbers will go down. Now, Yahala, continue reading. The snakes, what will happen? What are they going to do?
The snakes in the
Meadow.
eat mice. Their numbers would also go down.
So they are starving,
the hawks,
and there is someone is eating them. The hawks in meadow.
Hunt snakes and mice. The hawks would be hungry too.
Excellent, excellent, very good.
So now,
wait a second. So Yahala, now, first of all, the plant is not there, so it disappeared. The mice are not eating, so they are starving. They are dying because of starving. After that, there is a predator going after them, which is the snake. And who's going after the snake? The hawk. The hawk goes for the snake and the mice. See how much the mice is damaged now? They are starving. They don't have food. They are been hunted by two kinds of animals, snake and hawk. So definitely mice are going to be very less in the cold spring now. Suppose that the spring was warm and wet. Plants would grow in the meadow.
Plants would grow in the meadow. The mice would have plenty to eat. Their numbers would go up. The snakes and hawks would also have plenty to eat, so their numbers would go up too.
So they are very confusing. The changes in a food web can be very confusing. If there's too much food, there will be too much animals, numbers of animals. And if there is too little of food, animals will be too little. Now, Ya Fatuma, can you continue reading in the next page over here? Food webs. Fatuma? Okay, Gamar, are you here? Haya, can you read Haya Habibi? Food webs can be.
Can I read?
Haya, are you here, ya mama? Sila.
Yes.
Can you read, please? Over here. Food web.
Food webs can distributed when one member of food webs goes by away.
Okay.
This happened in Yellowstone
National Park.
Natural Park
During
the
early 90s.
The gray wolf hunted in the park. Eventually, no gray wolves were left.
Excellent. See? So some animals can disappear forever and be finished forever. They can be extinct. Why? Because of the changes that happens to the web. Because the food cannot be distributed when someone goes away. Sorry, when someone goes away, the food will be distributed upon the others, between the others. So one of them can be extinct. Why? Because once the food finishes, they will start eating each other, and that time they eated all the gray wolf. Nowadays, we don't have any gray wolf left because they were extinct because of starving. Okay, Haya, can you hear me, Haya? Lara Justiniya? All right. Mariam Muwaffaq, can you continue reading?
Yes, from where?
Gray wolf.
Okay, sorry. The gray wolf preyed mostly on elk. The number of elk in the park increased after the wolves disappeared. In
1955, scientists returned
14 gray wolves to the park. The number of wolves has
increased.
Increased. As a result, the number of elk in the park
decreased.
Other
changes happened too. Elk eat trees. Before the wolf were
What is that?
reintroduced, the elk overgrazed the trees in the park. Okay, so there's an elk. What did they do? A kind of animal called elk. It looks like a deer, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. So the gray wolf preyed mostly on elk. So they always hunt elk for food, okay, at that time. So when the gray wolf disappeared, the gray elk, what happened to it? They became more. They are having more children, more babies, and they're not dying because there's no someone to hunt them. That's why the elk numbers increased, okay? But after that, scientists returned 14 gray wolves. They bring 14 gray wolves to the park. So what happened? Of course, the gray wolf started to hunt the elk. When it started to hunt the elk, the gray wolves become more numbers than the elk. And one more change is happening. The elk eats trees. So once the elk started to go away and being hunted, the trees are starting to grow again. Okay? So what is the conclusion now? Once there's a change in a food web, everything around will change. Do you understand that?
Yes, Miss. I searched for elk in Google and it showed me pictures.
Okay. Does it look like a deer? This one is an elk.
Oh, yes, it showed me like that picture.
Yes, this is an elk. See? This is elk and this is the gray wolf.
Miss, the gray wolf eats the elk, right?
Yes, the gray wolf eats the elk. And the elk eats the trees.
And then the trees eat nothing.
They make their own food. All right, Habibi. All right. So that's it for today. Tomorrow, inshallah, we will do sum it up together. Now I'm going to stop recording and see your questions, okay?